Anger is one of the most misunderstood human emotions because it is often judged by its visible expression rather than understood through the psychological experience beneath it. At its core, anger is a response to perceived violation, threat, frustration, injustice, rejection, humiliation, or loss of control. It signals that something feels wrong and that an internal boundary has been crossed. Anger can therefore be protective. It can motivate a person to defend themselves, establish boundaries, confront problems, and respond to unfair treatment. But anger is rarely as simple as it appears. Beneath intense anger, there may be fear, grief, shame, insecurity, disappointment, or helplessness. Anger often feels more powerful than these emotions, which is why the mind may use it as a psychological shield. Fear makes a person feel vulnerable, while anger can create a temporary sense of strength. Sadness can feel passive, while anger creates energy and movement. Humiliation can make someone feel powerless, while anger produces the sensation that power can be reached. This is why people sometimes become angry about things that seem disproportionately small. The immediate event may only be the trigger, while the emotional intensity comes from accumulated experiences underneath it. A minor criticism can activate years of feeling inadequate. A small rejection can awaken older fears of abandonment. A simple disagreement can become threatening when the person experiences disagreement as disrespect. Anger therefore contains information about what the mind believes has been threatened. The deeper psychology of anger involves the relationship between expectations, boundaries, and control. People become angry when reality violates something they believe should be different. They may believe they deserve respect, loyalty, recognition, fairness, obedience, understanding, or control over a situation. When reality refuses to cooperate, emotional tension rises. Anger becomes destructive when the person treats the emotion as proof that their interpretation must be correct. The feeling is real, but the conclusion attached to it may not always be accurate. A person can feel disrespected without actually being disrespected. They can feel threatened without being in danger. They can feel rejected without being abandoned. Psychological maturity involves creating enough space between the emotion and the reaction to examine what is actually happening. Suppressing anger completely is not healthy either, because ignored anger can become resentment, withdrawal, bitterness, passive aggression, or sudden emotional explosions. The goal is not to eliminate anger, but to understand its message and regulate its expression. Healthy anger can establish boundaries, reveal unmet needs, and motivate constructive action. Destructive anger attempts to control, intimidate, punish, or injure. Learning to identify the emotion beneath anger can change the entire psychological response. Sometimes the real need is safety. Sometimes it is recognition. Sometimes it is grief that has never been processed. Sometimes it is the acceptance that another person cannot be controlled. The deepest form of emotional strength is not the absence of anger. It is the ability to experience anger without becoming controlled by it. Anger can tell you that something matters, but it does not have to decide what you do next. When the emotion is understood rather than blindly obeyed, it becomes information instead of destruction. The person begins moving from reaction toward awareness, from punishment toward boundaries, and from emotional intensity toward conscious choice. In that space, anger can become a source of clarity rather than a force that quietly destroys everything around it.